Hello everyone, welcome to this Yoga for Bigger Bodies Self-Acceptance Challenge. Today we're going to work on exploring what pigeon pose is like. That's a pose that either people love or people hate. So let's find all these different variations and you can find the one that's right for you. So we'll start by sitting on the ground or in a chair. We're just going to take a few breaths together before we start stretching our bodies. So sitting in any position that you like. Maybe closing your eyes, taking a breath, feeling what works for you. Feeling what's going on in your body. Noticing how you feel in this moment. Maybe you want to bring one hand down to the ground, or if you're like me and you're short, you can bring your hand down to a block. Raising your other arm over top. Maybe looking up for a stretch. Breathing. And then we'll come back. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Noticing where you feel a stretch. Maybe you feel something along the side of your body. Taking a breath. You can bring, if you have blocks, you can bring them in front. No worries if you don't. We'll take a second and we'll raise our arms up towards the sky. Think about lowering your shoulders and then hinging at the hips, coming down forward. Breathing here. You can bring your hands to your blocks or to your feet or to the ground or to your legs, whatever works. Taking a breath. And then slowly coming back up. We're going to come onto all fours. If that doesn't feel good for you, being on your hands and knees, you can also use a chair. Bring your hands and stand. Bring your hands to the chair, having like a flat-ish back to mimic a table. So we'll come into this table shape. On the ground or on all fours. You can also use blocks. I like these blocks. It feels better in my wrists. And we're going to do some cat-cows here. So we're going to think about arching our back, sticking, like our belly's coming down, filling up with air, looking upwards. Think about our butt sticking up, like our tailbone is curling up towards the sky, filling up. And then we exhale all the air out, round our backs, tuck our tailbones and butts underneath us. Maybe chin comes towards the chest. And then we inhale, filling up with air, arching the spine, sticking that tailbone and butt up, looking up. Inhaling and exhaling our cat. So you can go as slow or as fast here as you like. This can also be done with the chair. And then we'll take a second to shake that out. And we're going to come into our pigeon variation. So if you're on the ground, you can stay there. We'll first come into a low lunge position. So we have one leg out in front, one leg behind. And to come in, I'm going to just move these out of the way, maybe move this chair back a little bit. I take this front foot and I cross it over to the opposite side of my body. So this is my left leg. I'm going to cross it over to about here in front of my right knee. So now I'm like really tilty. What going to happen is we're going to lower our hands and slowly lower this knee down to the mat. So there's not a really graceful way to do this. We sort of lower that foot down in front and then the option to tilt forward. So that's pigeon. You can also squish your belly to the side. I squish it to the side where my foot is to make room. It's kind of awkward. Doesn't always feel great. It kind of feels intense. Another way to do it is to take a pillow, place it on your mat, get into your low lunge position with the pillow in between your feet and your legs, And then we're going to do the same thing, bringing the foot over, coming down, bringing that knee down to the ground. This time, the pillow or the bolster is in between the two legs. And then you can try to straighten that back leg and lean forward over it. This provides a little more support in your hip. You're also not going as far down to the ground. Stretch is not as intense, and it's easier to get into. So there's one option. Another option, if I can get out of this one, is to use a chair. So this one's a little more complicated. I like it a lot, but you have to make sure the chair's really sturdy. It's definitely on the mat, not on the floor, so it's not going to slip. And I'm going to bring my foot up to one side, just like we did before, and slowly bring it to the opposite side of the chair, and then hold the chair, maybe stepping your foot in as you gradually bring your whole shin, calf, lower leg down to the mat, and then lower the back one. And then look forward. Now, all of this is like, no way, there's no way. Don't worry. You can sit. You can bring one leg over top of the other one. Breathing here. This creates that same stretch in your hip. Or you can also do this on a wall. We did that in one of the first videos, bringing your legs up the wall and then making that figure four. Or you do it lying on the ground. Lying on the ground, bringing your feet up, or back. Oh, it feels nice. And then bring one foot over. You can also put the foot on the edge of the chair and stay here. So maybe you've been in your pigeon for a bit if you did one of the earlier poses, or you're just getting there. Take a second to get there, and we'll breathe. You can also lower your bottom leg to the ground as well, or put a block underneath it if you're doing the recline pigeon. Taking a few breaths in your shape, because then we're going to come out of it, and we got to do it on the other side. Okay, so we'll slowly come out of our shape we're in. We'll roll in whatever non-graceful fashion that we have, and we'll come up and we'll find it on the opposite side. So we're bringing the opposite leg in front. So this time, if I'm using the chair, I'm bringing my leg up to one side, and then I'm slowly lowering it over and gradually lowering the leg down to the chair, stepping the other leg back. And then you can put your hands on the back of the chair or on the seat, whatever feels better here. And you can breathe here. Or we can do the one on the ground. Bring your foot in front, and then slowly bring it to the opposite side, have the pillow in between, and gradually come down. And breathe here. Find the way that works for your arms. Take a few breaths in whatever position that you're in. Notice where you feel that sensation in the hip. And then we'll slowly come out of it, coming back to sit in whatever version works for you, whatever seated position works for you. We'll take a moment just to reflect on that. So what is that experience of going through those different versions and figuring out which one worked for you? Was it successful? Was it not successful? Was it hard going through all the different options? Did you find one that you liked? Part of doing yoga in a larger body is going through different versions, going through different variations of a pose, and figuring out which ones suit your body best and which ones don't. And all versions are valid. They all engage or stretch the same muscles. They have the same benefit. They might just look a little different. But if they're having the same benefit, then the way things look don't matter. So part of it is going through this process. Part of starting a yoga practice in a bigger body is going through this process and figuring out what versions work best for you. Maybe you want to bring your hands to your heart. Thank you so much for exploring with me, for taking the time to think about different things, different ways you can move your body, evaluating which ways work better for you. And I thank you so much for participating in this self-acceptance challenge. Thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow.